and I get something. It's very often. The presentation concerns itself with big data and property, and more specifically on big social data. This means that data that are created at the interaction of users with internet services. And I want to reflect on the ethical norms that constitute the creation, distribution, and processing of this data. And I want to interact with you on the influence that the new technologies have on the society. And I would like to make the question if it is ethically acceptable given our ethical norms or not. And in order to understand, to get into the topic on big social data and databases that are created, we must first reflect on technology and how technology influences us, our people. And if something influences us, usually it exerts also power on us. So we must first understand what power is. Foucault said that power is everywhere. What did he mean? For example, if Maury and Florian want to go to the cinema but want to watch different movies, one of them is going to step back. The result will be that, for example, let's say that at the end they go and see Maury's movies, preferable movie. Then Florian will accept the power of Maury in this situation. He will step back and they will watch a movie. So Florian has a motive, a goal that he wants to realize in order to accept the power that is accepted to him. Power exists everywhere, in families, in relationships, in the society, in institutions, in companies, in the market. But the interesting point of power, as Foucault also said, is that power comes from under. The decisive point that a power relation will be realized is that someone will accept to go in this situation, and not that someone wants to exert power. And technology creates a special situation. It puts us in a place that we accept power without realizing it, and without that another social actor decides to exert it to us. The most classical example of that is time. By the time we started wearing watches, we totally changed the way we behave. We stopped waking up, go on the field, do the works we would usually do, but we started saying, okay, it's 11 o'clock, I will stop what I am doing. It doesn't matter if I enjoy it or not, in order to do something else that I wanted to do. So the whole time there is a power that is exerted on us, that we decided that it will be exerted to us. Nobody here has ever thought of taking off the watch and organize their day without the watch. Why? Because the watch, it helps us succeed stuff. So we accept the power in order to have either benefits or motives or goals achieved. Years after the invention of the clock, our good friend Gutenberg created the portable printer. You know, Thomas Hobbes said that, it was at the time of Hobbes, and Hobbes said that the invention of the printer is banal. It doesn't provide anything to the society. Oh, he was wrong. The creation of the modern state, of the bureaucracy, and all the way we live today wouldn't be like that if this machine wasn't invented. Everything was standardized. The databases were created even more. Knowledge could be distributed, communicated. The whole society changed by the invention of the printer. And again, it influenced us. We all carry an ID, although I bet nobody of us wants to carry an ID. We don't want to give our data if we go to the state to make transactions, but for the society, it helps for the social coordination. It has some advantages, so people suppress themselves in some things in order to get disadvantages. You know, this puts us in a weird relation to ourselves. We are master of ourselves, but we are also slaves of ourselves. And this happens through technology. It's a special relation where no other social being exerts the force to us. And the same happens with internet. Internet is marvelous. We can coordinate, communicate, learn stuff. We can do everything much, much better. But the price that we pay is that we wake up and we go to sleep and we use the whole time a browser. We carry it all the time with us. And nobody even thinks about, okay, I will stop using the internet. I will stop answering my emails. We are really internet slaves, but not slaves to some bad technology. Technology isn't bad, technology is there. And that there is a power doesn't per se mean that it is something bad. It just happens, but we must consciously understand what it happened. So, we understood how technology influences us. Now the question is, in the process of using the internet, what constitutes the creation and distribution of the data that we live in our interactions in the network? We live prints all the time, but how does the society accept them? How does the society manage them? So we must again turn back to the basics and understand what is property, because the data we make belong to someone, and we give them, we exchange them, etc. So what is property? It's a social rule, it's an invention, a social invention for the distribution of power regarding objects or entities which are available to more than one person. For example, let's take the banal example of property is slavery. Why? The most, so people can understand. Because on the slave, the master the slave will do whatever the master says. It doesn't matter that the pen doesn't have a soul, but it is the same thing, the same concept. So what happens when two of us want a pen? We must socially find a way to go on. So we say, okay, we will make a social rule in the Western society, the property, and we will find a way to say to whom it belongs. But the trick in all this situation is property is only understood by us like that, only by us. And that by us, I mean the modern culture. There is a very nice example about the Indians in the USA. The Indians didn't have the concept of land property. They didn't know what it is. Why? First of all, they were nomads. They didn't live in one place, so how can you claim that something is yours? But this wasn't actually the reason. Do you know why slavery emerged in the previous societies? A slave was only a person that didn't belong in the social group of the group that enslaved them. It was an enemy or an unknown thing. What was the ground for the Indians? It was their God. It had a soul. It really had a soul, and they spoke to them and communicated them. It was with them all the time. So they didn't even understand why someone can exert force on it, to have it, and to control it. So the problem emerged in the 18th century in the US when the Europeans came, the US state started being created, was that there were courts and they brought Indians on land issues and they couldn't communicate because they didn't even know the concept. So let's reflect a little bit further from the way that we have learned that things are. The second thing that is important to understand how data are distributed is reciprocity. What is reciprocity? Money, tit for tat reciprocity. I give you something quantified, you give me back something else. Is a social rule that says how people should react when another person has provided something to them. Done something to them, said something to them, or not done, nor said. It doesn't mean it is there or if it is not. It's a action-reaction. We learned that reciprocity should be fulfilled. You give something, we get it back. If you don't give it back, you are indebted to me. And that's bad, don't mind. You owe me something, it's terrible. So this is the social rule that exists in our society. And in this way are also data exchanges today. Again, oh, how stupid we are. This is not how it should work. This is not the only way it works. And it will probably work otherwise in some thousands of years. This is a member of the Thema tribe in Nigeria. So, you know, if you don't owe something in their society, you cannot be a member of the society. Why? Because if I give you a gift and you pay it back for me, I have no reason to see you. If I am a little bit indebted to you, we have a reason to meet again. So every time we exchange stuff, there must be a debt open. So we can see each other. It means living a debt that's a way to socialize. So it's a positive thing. Also another, not fun, interesting example, funny actually, in a Congo tribe, let's say that you're hurt and they save your life. What we would typically do if I save your life is that you would buy a present to me. There, I would have to pay all the expenses of you for the rest of your life. Why? Because if you died, you don't have to. So, again, reciprocity can be conceptualized completely different. Okay, but let's return to our society. And the Western society also constitutes the rules, the social rules, and the legal rules of the information society. Why? Because Western civilization wins today, let's say. So, the right on property in the Western society is justified on two reasons. The possession of an entity or the labor for its creation, for the creation of the entity. The possession, I built a house on this land and it belongs to me. I built the house with my materials in my hands, the house also belongs to me. The knowledge about myself, my privacy is mine because it is my possession and it is my life. And these are undisputable in Western society. The same applies in the information society. Again, if someone creates a service, this belongs to the earnings of the service belongs to the person the creator of the service. So, or if the data are mine, my privacy data, I will choose to whom I'm going to give them, and if I want. And the other don't have any rights to process them if I don't let them do it. So, but what is interesting in these two is that they are linked to knowledge. An idea, a service, is a knowledge to do something. My privacy is knowledge about me, and I wanted to keep it for me because at some point probably I want to defend myself, and if the other knows it, I could be in a difficult situation. And again, if I know something better, I can act better. In the market, in politics, in every social context. So, as our friend Francis Bacon said, and then Hobbes, knowledge is power. And how is this power translated in the information society? Through big data, a part of it. Why? Because big data suddenly can realize new mappings of the world. They can provide new knowledge that until now it wasn't available. They can create live knowledge for complex social phenomena because of the amount of the data, that they weren't there before, and that they change and they can be monitored, for example. So, what this provides as an advantage? Companies can optimize their services. They can make perfect advertisements because they have so many data and so good data, etc. But also they can see how they are going to function in the market and in politics. We live it every day. For example, let's say I have a company that runs all the internet platforms for all other companies. So that company knows what all the other companies do. So she can decide, maybe I can buy this company, it works good, or I can copy the way that it functions. So it gets all the knowledge she wants out of the data. Again, if let's say I have a website that brings people together, and out of it I can see what people want, what people are afraid, what people need, what people will do tomorrow. And I say, okay, why won't I run for president of a country if I know how all people of the country behave? So there is an unlimited knowledge, limited action potential in this data. So it's really important that these data are gathered. But how is this justified? Excuse me. But how did it start? I mean, 30 years ago, some geeks were sitting there and making algorithms and making a funny website, or it was a military project at the USA, partly, how the internet was discovered. So how did it start? You know, cookies. Do you know what a cookie did at the beginning? It saved the password of your website. It's this file that they get the data from, if you have the service. Every web page you connect was used to save your password in there so you can connect faster. But because the data had so much potential, people's services started gathering this data in order to transform them in all the things we said before. And from there, then, it was a typical anonymous interaction. We reached the point that they know everything about personal lives. They know what we eat, what we like to dress, our families, our friends, etc., etc. And this knowledge is transformed to endless money. It's the first time, Simon says it a lot of times, that the oil companies aren't the richest companies in the world. But still, there is a missing link there. How did we started from personal data, and suddenly there are some companies who can rule the world? What happened there? How did our data come to them? Under which ethical background? How is this justified? And why do we accept it? I mean, all these things that I said have enormous political differences. If you are a political scientist, active members of the society, these things should be really interesting. And I think a lot of people think about them. But nobody can see what happened there. So, how is it justified now that they have the data and they produce profit out of it? So, the first common argument is that they take the data, they put them together, they run a nice algorithm, and they get their results. And then, according to these results, they choose how to behave. They set an advertisement, they, take a political decision, etc., etc. So they say that actually the algorithm is what transforms the data to knowledge. So the value belongs to the algorithm, not to the data, our private data, your private data, their private data. It doesn't matter who they are at this point. The second is that they use big data. What does it mean, big data? That they don't care about a tiny piece of information. They don't care about you alone, about you alone, about you alone, about you alone. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to give us your data, don't give it to us. We can still will be rich. We have all the rest of the data. And the third one is that I came up with the idea. Come on. So I will get all the earnings. It's mine. So let's take these things again. First of all, without the data, even the best algorithms of the world cannot make any result. Second of all, big data have started to be used in all those political decisions and market functions the last 10 years. Before that, they just use profiling. What does it mean? They already had your data through this cookie, so they saw what you wanted and sent you and decided what to do. So it actually doesn't have to do with big data. Every data, personal data of you is equally valuable for yourself and for the others. And then finally, yes, it's true. If we accept the Western ethical law, the norm, that the creator of a thing gets the rights, the property rights of everything, yes, it's true. But this doesn't justify the huge social asymmetry that is taking place. So what's happening there? What happened? How did you give your data to them? It's simple. You don't think about it. You are enslaved to yourself through technology. You just want the profit. Oh, if I search in the search machine about that, I can learn it. I don't give a fuck if I give them the data. This is the power that I put to myself, so I will get what I want. This happens all the time. And most importantly, through this process, you don't see the most banal thing. How many likes does your life cost? How many tweets? How many Amazon purchases? This reciprocity is empty. It's not equal. It's not even ethically, from the Western society, well calibrated. You don't even think about it. They didn't even ask you to do it. You do it alone, by yourselves. Don't laugh, it's like that. So, I give you a chance to emancipate. Really, I'm not going to let you to your misery. First of all, take what you belong. If you accept the Western ethical norms, demand that you get paid from the earnings they make. The most simple thing. Will it be 1.0000001 cent for each of your searches? Demand it. Are you stupid? No. Second, when they have data and they keep them for themselves, although they belong to all, they stop doing it. If they are public data, let them be public. Because if only they have them, there is a major political issue. They can throw governments, they can make dictatorships, they can manage the market, they can do whatever they want. You cannot imagine how well calibrated these data are and how much they can tell about the world. Even if you must really see it to understand. And in order to see it, it must be public. No, but now you don't see it to understand. If you see it, you can probably think about it. Be conscious about that. And say, no, I don't like that. Probably it would be better to be different. And finally, a utopian imperative. Yes, we accept these ethical laws, but probably if we change them a little bit, our society would be better. Of course, there would be power relationships because they are everywhere. But at least we could consciously save the society. And for the end, because the digital revolution has started, I will tell you that the future belongs to the daring. Thank you very much.